here we are, recording sound after the fact. There were some issues with the audio. I'm still trying to figure this program out. It's one of those cheap free ones. However, I think I'm going to try to use it to its best potential. Anyways, in this game, in the first match, I'm deciding to keep my hand. I have enough. I have the blue for the Torrent Elemental, and I was hoping to acquire a second blue for the Sign of Glaciers, and there it was. I'm leading with the tap. You want to be as efficient with your mana as possible, and since I had nothing else to play, I may as well play the tap mana and gain the life. I realized I'm against a red and black deck, so I'm assuming that it's going to be aggressive. And here we go. So, gonna play the Jeskai Elder. Jeskai Elder is pretty awesome because she has the ability to loot. Looting is you draw a card and you discard a card. She loots when you hit the opponent. The reason we call it looting is because there was a card called Merfolk Looter that you could tap and you would get the same ability to draw and discard a card. So, lots of forests in the old hand. I have enough for the Sign of Glaciers now, which is good. Waiting on our opponent. Who has played a Goreswine, Killer Piggy. A vicious, vicious pig with no butt. And, okay, drew the Jeskai Sage. Great card to go against Goreswine because if they trade, I will also get to cantrip. I will get to draw a card. So, going in with the old lady, I kind of feel bad putting her up against a pig. If he blocks, I'm happy with that exchange. I mean, a 2-drop for a 3-drop. Goreswine can be pretty dang aggressive. If she suffers the fate of Robert Baratheon, Game of Thrones fans, you'll know what I'm saying, then I won't feel too bad. But she lives, and he gives me the ability to loot. So I don't know if that was a good idea on his part. You typically don't want to give your opponent opportunities to draw more cards. In this case, it worked out well for me. I drew another 2-drop that I will be able to play. Inoc Guide, not the world's strongest card. I'm playing it in this deck as a Grizzly Bear, a 2-drop 2/2. I'm not really that interested in the first ability unless I'm in a really tough circumstances. I do not recommend playing Inoc Guide for that mana ability for the most part, unless you're playing like a 5-color deck and you need something desperately to fulfill that role. Okay. So, in he comes with the Goreswine. I'm assuming that he has something to kill the Jeskai Sage because, as I said before, this trade, the 1/1 for the 4/1, is great for me. I also get to draw a card when it dies. So, small incremental advantage. This is all good. Drawing a tap land, not so good. Now, oh, okay, and another land. So, there's a Mardu Scout. He didn't dash it. He could have dashed it and attacked with it and the Goreswine on the last turn, which I don't know why he wouldn't have. Since I'm assuming that he didn't trade with the piggy, I'm guessing that the old lady will not have to fight the knife-wielding goblin, and he seems to have changed his mind. I think he's maybe realized that me being able to loot every turn is not a great idea. However, I still don't mind that trade. I want to get rid of his aggressive things, and as far as I'm concerned, the old lady did her work. She did her job. And I got something bigger and badder now to wreak some havoc. Sign of Glaciers, the horned, snowy beast elemental. I don't really know what that picture is. It looks really awesome, though. So he's up to 5 mana. For red and black, I think that his deck is moving very slowly. You usually would expect the pressure to be put on pretty hard from an opponent like this. Okay. Planeswalker. Now, Sarkhan is pretty strong. Here, my opponent has chosen to turn him into a 4/4 in order to get me. Scion of Glaciers, I am able to power up, however, and attack him. So I'm not 100% sure why he chose to make this play. In my hand, I even have a power up, which I'm deciding to play pre-combat to just ensure that this Sarkhan is killed. I did not have to do this in retrospect, because Scion of Glaciers I could have just used the regular power-up ability, the +1/-1, to be able to kill the Sarkhan. So in retrospect, maybe this was a bad idea, or maybe it was a misplay. However, it seems to be working out here. Sarkhan dead. He is at 5 mana, and there is only one creature on my side of the board. That makes me nervous against red-black decks, as you're sometimes capable of getting out multiple aggressive things in one turn. However, I'm also not too optimistic about the Scion living with all the 5-drop black kill spells, although in this case he does not play any of them. So now that I have the Torrent Elemental sitting there in the wakes, I'm probably deciding whether or not I want to play that. I come in with the Scion. I know the only burn spell I can think of that could hit him is Dragonfire or Aerostorm, things that typically only do 4 damage. I think Pyrotechnics is even 4. Is it 4? Yeah. So I powered him up 1 just to kind of play it safe. I didn't want to play the Torrent Elemental because I was scared of him potentially having mass removal spells. So just to play it safe, we bring out the Inoc Guide and get another bear out on the field. And he's going to have to grin and bear it. 5 cards in his hand, though. A lot of dangerous potential. Obviously, even though I look quite far ahead, I know that things against a deck like this can change on a dime. But they did not this time. Okay, so the plan now, attack with everything. Since he did not remove the Scion last turn, I've decided to speed things up a bit. Maybe I didn't have to do that second power-up, as I already had him on a 2-turn clock. I was dealing 7 damage. He only has 14 life. But I did it anyway. And paid the price. Bring Low deals 3 damage, and it deals 5 damage if your creature has a +1/+1 counter on it. So, in a way, I paid for both my mistakes, powering my creature up with the +1/+1 counters when I didn't have to, and powering it up more than I had to. So, Magic is a complicated game, basically. Small mistakes can be detrimental along down the road. So, now I play my Torrent Elemental. I want the threats to continue, and I want to keep beating down. Just having the bear out is no longer enough to solidify the victory. Plus, I'm assuming if he has mass removal, he would have used it to destroy the Scion and the Inoc Guide. I believe here I was making some comments on the fact that red-black players are typically fast, what with those colors being so aggressive. However, he's rather slow, and Crux of Fate. So I was playing around it. I decided that he didn't have it, and of course he did. So at this point, no threats in my hand, and then I draw the Hooting Mandrills. Big draw, one of the best draws I could have gotten in my deck. The intelligent thing to do there, watching this video, would have been to delve the Torrent Elemental out. If I delved the Torrent Elemental, I would then be able to play it from the Exile Zone. That's Torrent Elemental's awesome ability. If it's exiled, you can play it and put it back on the battlefield tapped. But I did not do that. So, in hindsight, we're not dealing with perhaps the best played game. But we're still winning, so at least there's that. I've had to have made at least a couple good decisions. Playing my island pre-combat because I'm not that concerned. He's all tapped out, so no point in letting it, withholding that knowledge, in my opinion. So I'm attacking. He has to know that I have something to do, otherwise he might think I'm just a fool. Although with some of the moves that I made this game, I can see why he might think that I'm just an idiot. He's deciding whether or not to block. My monkeys are saying, "Master, why are you making us attack into this giant, scary machine?" By the way, the Pilgrim's cool. If you follow the timeline of the set, the creature he has, that artifact, it changes its form in each set depending on where we are in the Tarkir timeline. And this version being the strongest, the one in the alternate reality in the Dragons of Tarkir set, he is the weakest version, and the one in Khans of Tarkir is, if I recall, somewhat strong. I forget its abilities. Anyways, I'm getting hurt now. I do not want to whisk this creature away because I see that we are nearing the end of his life total. What that means is I can whisk away another creature if he decides to block with something else. Oh, and we get a giant zombie fish. So now I'm learning that his deck was not nearly as aggressive as I had initially thought. I mean, it's aggressive, but I had assumed it would be fast and quick. Those are synonyms. However, it seems to be a deck that focuses on killing all your creatures, and then playing big, scary things to destroy you. I did get an amazing draw here, though, with Sultai Charm. This allows me to use one of the Sultai Charm's 3 abilities, in this case, destroy a monocolored creature, to kill this Gurmag Angler, which he has powered up. So I had a really good 2-for-1 there, and which lets me get in. Now, this is very good news. Why is this good news? If he keeps his creature up to block, and he decides to block the Hooting Mandrills, typically when a creature is blocked, its damage is negated, regardless if you kill the creature after the block was made or if you return to their hand. In the case of Whisk Away, put it on top of their deck. However, if your creature has Trample, that damage will still go through. One of the great aspects of Trample, and one of the reasons why Hooting Mandrills is such a strong card. I love those apes. I will miss them because I think that they will be leaving from the sealed format. So he blocks. I'm whisking away with a hope and a prayer that he has no removal. Brahula, that's me. Can't even say my own name. But I won. Yay! And